Patrick, oh my gosh, what's happening? Where are you? You're not at the place that you were the last time you were live. How astute you are. Correct. I am not. I am at my mother's and my father's. I'm at my parents' place. I'm. I still got so much stuff to move. Like all my stuff, honestly. Well, I say all my stuff as if it's a lot of stuff besides clothes. But anyway, I'm here today. And not only am I here today, I was looking for something. And I was like, let me check the side of the bed. Excuse me, I'm still exhausted. Hi, how are you? Welcome. I found the Diablo Tarot on the side of my bed. Hey, Kido, how you doing? I don't know how it got there, honestly. Um, and it's interesting because the card shop, my buddy from the card shop, the one who like owns it, he was talking about Diablo 4. And then Rob was talking about Diablo 4. And right? Oh my gosh, Saturn just went. I think you inspired today's reading, Holly, because Saturn just went retrograde. And since I'm back here with Saturn, which just went retrograde, why not? Let's do it. I don't think it's gonna cross. No, Saturn. Well, honestly, Saturn is pretty early Pisces, so I don't know. It's honestly probably early enough that it might cross the cusp. I think it's early enough that it'll cross the cusp, but I don't have any of my super handy astrology apps with me to confirm because they're dead. They have no charge. These cards are massive. How are you doing, Holly? Excuse me. I think I am gonna do a Saturn retrograde. Oh, snap. I accidentally clicked the button. One of your friends might join the live. Is it? I mean, Kido only has. I'm not gonna say he only has one friend because that's a little mean and not necessarily true. But there's Gone. Ooh, not the Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Glad to hear it. I'm gonna try to get a shuffle. So I guess I'm gonna use the Diablo Tarot to see. Oh, like that. Okay. Because I was up at. Ah! Well, and the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands could not be contained, except for it's the 10 and not the 2. The 10 of Wands is a card that's been coming out lately. But the 10 of Wands has been having this feeling of like responsibility or responsibilities more so than like burdens. Ooh, I guess we're trying it. Am I reading this? No. The Eight of Cups in reverse and the Emperor in reverse at the bottom with the King of Cups behind the Emperor. And the King of Wands is behind this King of Cups with the Four of Swords behind it. Now the deck is upside down. So they're not really in reverse because everything is in reverse. I mean, I guess they are. This is interesting. What's interesting is this 10 of Wands is a little hanged man looking. Well, it's like the hangman in reverse, I guess. Excuse me. The Eight of Cups in reverse, if this is a challenge, Or if this 10 of Wands is an energy of responsibility, then the 8 of Cups in reverse would be like not walking away from something, even though it's easier. There's almost a tiny bit of not perpetrating abandonment wounds or like breaking an abandonment cycle, because it's like um my brain, it's Monday, I got Monday brain today. It's tired from everything that's happened this weekend, which is um understandable. That's the word. It's like one person who gets abandoned, and then they have an abandonment wound, and then they like meet someone else, and I don't know if it's like it's a lot well, the King of Cups is here. It's like a lot emotionally, or it's too much emotionally, and so there's that, like they just sort of like back off, or they isolate, they ghost, they disappear, they run away, they do whatever, but then it leaves the other person with an abandonment wound. And honestly, something like that is a little bit more inherited. So a line of absent fathers or something like that. But anyway, the challenge here, all right, Killa, the challenge here is to not, it's to stay. With the Emperor in reverse and the King of Cups in reverse, it's like not only is a challenge to stay, not only is the challenge to not run away, it's also to surrender control because the Emperor is in reverse. With the King of Cups in reverse, it feels like it feels like there's a greater plan, or it feels like there's something that is going to unfold. And absence slash abandonment, too much control, and I don't want to say an over prioritization of one's own feelings. All of that could jeopardize whatever is unfolding. But honestly, the King of Cups, it feels it's just like the potential for something to work out much better than you would think. Why that for the King of Cups in reverse in particular? I don't know. He's almost coming out with a, because well, the Queen of Cups for a lot of people is a pre High Priestess energy. Um, it's fairly common, I guess I should say. A common interpretation of the Queen of Cups that I've seen is that she's like a pre High Priestess. And it feels like her energy is here with the King of Cups. Now, it could be in the King of Cups in reverse because with that tie and connection, because there is like a lot of action that's trying to be taken, especially with the Emperor in reverse. There's a lot of action being taken, but there's not like, it's one of those like when you're doing a lot of speaking and you're doing a lot of talking and not necessarily as much listening. And so, like, you may think you're being helpful. You may think that you are giving someone exactly what they want. You may think you're answering a question. And I say this because, like, it came up at work today in a way, which is really because we're training, right? It's me and this other guy. We're training. And he was asking me a question. We were being walked through how to do an audit. And he asked me a question that was related to a previous step. And so the person who was training us thought he was asking a question about the current step. So they kept like insisting on the answer of what we were on at that moment, but he was asking about something prior. So, and it was one of those, like, it was a loud environment, like we're yelling and wearing like ear protection so that we have our hearing. Eve, you get to make it back for the Saturn retrograde reading while I'm back in the old place. How are you doing? Excuse me. So, like, again, like, they thought that they were answering the question. They thought they were being very helpful, but it's like, and again, like, it was so loud that to like get clarity in that was a little difficult. But that's what kind of sort of makes me think of that. It's like doing something that you think is helpful or doing something that you think is right, but it's like actually like, let's like, you missed a step back here. And I guess if we're talking about a retrograde, I wouldn't be surprised if we go back to it. Now, because this is here where it's at, this Ten of Wands, it feels like if you go back and clear up the confusion, by the time you return to the step that you're on and you move forward, it's actually going to be a lot easier. And so I guess in that way, it's like you're going back with that Eight of Cups energy, but you're not. But you are, but you're not. Not walking away, but seeking clarification. And again, listen, there's a time to speak and there's a time to listen. And a good king, a good emperor is just as good at listening as they are doing. Because you can do anything and everything, but if no one's asking for what you're doing, or if what you're doing isn't beneficial, you can see how, like, if you're just doing, going very quickly, things can spiral in one direction or another. Ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Is ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom a heartbeat? Okay. Oh, snap, not the Six of Swords with the Eight of Pentacles. The Six of Swords and the Eight of Pentacles, it feels like continuing along a certain path, even if it's gotten slow. It feels like there's a lot of muscle that's being used here. Almost like, oh, I feel like was it on the Cockney Sparrow? When Kirsty and I went to Q? I don't think it was. I can't remember where it was, but it's like if you're in a boat and you're going along a certain, like if you're on a boat ride or a skipper or whatever, and the water gets shallow, so they have to like reduce speed, and then like that person might have to like row. Now, all the stuff under the surface, we ain't worried about that right now. Um, but it's like when the water gets shallow and you have to reduce speed and you have to exert more like physical effort to get past it. Like that's what this feels like. Anyway, the quantum tarot every day. Yeah, well, we'll see. I've only used it the few times I've used it here. Also, I'm back home and I have the Vitruvian edition. I have the Revelations edition of the Spirit Keeper's Tarot. I was watching the person shuffle and he was shuffling like this. And I was like, how do you do that? And he was like, years of practice. But I think I'm figuring it out. All right. Because this deck is honestly easier to shuffle this way. Because it's massive. Does anyone know? I can Google it real quick. Saturn retrograde 2023. Oh my gosh, it's already there. Oh, darn it. I didn't click the 2023 one. There we go. Because until November. Oh my gosh, hold up. I'm taking it. I gotta take a picture of this and send it to somebody. That is hilarious. This is so coincidental. Sent at 4:44. Ha! Jokes. Universe has got jokes. Universe has got jokes. I was talking. I was talking to my journey buddy, and she told me that she watches me. I mean, which I know because every now and then she'll send me like a snap on Snapchat of me on the screen, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, why are you watching me? Stop watching me!" But now I'm actually doing better. As far as like, I don't know, like I said, the universe has given me ample opportunity to heal that Chiron and Leo, or to take that healing to the next step because it's necessary. And I knew it, and I was knowing it, and I've known it. And it's been, there are some times when the universe, the divine, your intuition will tell you that you need to do like A, B, or C in order for one, two, or three to happen. And you're like, we're mixing letters and numbers. Like, there's no way that that's connected. Trust your intuition. If your intuition says it is, it just might. Um, and oh my gosh, and it's related. That's hilarious. That's actually hilarious. Oh, I was on my computer. I was on my laptop. Anyway, this week, ba, 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 I should go to like astro.com or something. Um, and when in March of 2020, it last went retrograde in the sun sign of Aquarius. Has entered Pisces. Um, so is it? I just want to know if it's gonna exit Pisces or not, and go back into Aquarius. I'm assuming not, based off of the very limited research I've done. Oh, I wish to use this rhyme to go back home. Until next time. Y'all remember Dragon Tales? Dragon Tales, Dragon Tales. Or it was Dragonland. Dragonland, Dragonland. Let's all go to Dragonland. Come along, take my hand. Let's all go to Dragonland. What was I can't even remember how they got there. I remember, I think they chanted or they said something, and then the stickers or the stars came off the wall and swirled around them. Or was it I wish with all my heart to something, something? I wish with all my heart to go the distance to a land apart or something like that. I don't remember. Now I gotta look up Dragon Tales. Dragon Tales, I wish with all my heart. Okay, can I just get it? What did they say in Dragon Tales? I wish with all my heart to fly with dragons in a land apart. That makes sense. And then I wish to go back home. No, I literally just said it and I already forgot. I wish something, something until next time. Oh, now I need to know. Now I need to know. Dragonland, Dragon Tales Wiki. Oh, I'm an adult. I wish with all my heart to fly with dragons in a land apart. And then the scale teleports them to Dragonland. I wish to use this run to go back home until next time. To go back home. So, why not? But you did watch DuckTales? DuckTales? Ooh. Those DuckTales? Ooh. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. Okay. All right, Saturn. You know what? We're going to take it. Is there a dragon in this deck? I don't think so. We're going to try to... Oh, gosh. Maybe if I keep a finger there. There we go. Oh. Oh, gosh. Tails of dare and do that and good luck, Tails. Ooh, now I got DuckTales in my... Not pony. Ah! No! No! Did you see that? Oh my gosh. Well, the Diablo Tarot is now going to be incomplete. Welcome to the fabled halls of the decks of incomplete cards. We wish there weren't as many in here as there are. But it's fine. The danger, watch behind you. There's a stranger out to find you. Oh, gosh. Massive. These cards are massive. Look at me, I'm dancing. I'm dancing. This is unacceptable. I'm going to have to plug up my iPad so I can use my favorite astro tracking. Ouch! Woo! I'm doing crunches. Working on, see, if I was at my new place, I wouldn't have to go through all this. I just get on the floor and crawl. I'm kidding, kinda, I guess. Oh, I see the Clarity Tarot right there. Honestly, the Clarity Tarot fell and I left it on the floor. I was like, I don't feel like picking it up right now. And it's still there. Oh, my abs. They hurt. I ate a little too much for this. The danger. Watch behind you. Okay, so all of these fell off to the left. There was one card that fell off to the right as soon as I started shuffling. Let's flick through these cards first, and we'll look at them how I picked them up. So, first card face down, we have the Devil. Cool, I guess. This is a card of influence. And it's a card of influence because it's like these figures are a lot more easily seeable than the one in the back. And he's holding up a claw, but it's almost looking like the papal, whatever symbol that is. Next, face down, we have the Ace of Cups upright. We have Strength in reverse with the Chariot in reverse and the Ace of Swords in reverse. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. Groundbreaking. Like florals in spring. Is that like is there more significance because it's the Devil in Diablo? This is rough. Honestly, this is a rough energy. And I feel like this kind of sort of plays on what the SKT of Vitruvian was bringing out at the end as its final message. Because the Devil is upright and the Ace of Cups is upright, but Strength, the Chariot, and the Ace of Swords are all in reverse. It's like It's someone or something that tries to make a really compelling emotional argument. It's something that really tries to pull on the emotions. And the devil can also be manipulation. So it's very emotionally manipulative. It gets you out of the mind, it gets you out of logic, it gets you out of reason for a purpose. Because when we're in our emotions or when we're triggered or when we feel threatened, our it's like our first instinct is like survival, to survive or to protect or to do whatever. It narrows the vision and closes the mind. Oof. Now, what came over here? I know I'm only like halfway, not even halfway through the cards, maybe. I know you came over here. You can't hide from me. Well, honestly, you can. Many have hidden, some remain gone. Oh my gosh! I'm still looking. DuckTales. Ooh. I got tails in my head. Our DuckTales. Tails up there and do bad and good luck tails. Ooh. What was that? Danger. Watch what's behind you. There's a stranger out to find you. This is the danger behind you. I'm kidding. This is me, apparently, girl. So take it or leave it. I'm really not gonna find this card. I was like, oh, it's only one card. It's gonna be so easy to find. You know what? I'm gonna keep reading the ones that fell out to the left then, since the one to the right, maybe it just isn't for me to read yet. Maybe I'm going a little bit out of order. Okay. So that's what the devil and the ace of cups with the strength, the chariot, and the ace of swords all in reverse feels like. It's something that gets us in our emotions, but it's very purposeful. It's very tactful in that way because it knows that we are it's I guess capable of less capable of reason. And then we have another face down card. I'm gonna actually take both of these, one face down, one face up. You see the wings of the angel? It's the lovers and the hermit both upright. Gemini and Virgo, the lovers and the hermit. Mercury, and we just had a full moon Gemini. Mercury right now is in whatever sign Mercury is in. Let me plug up my iPad actually. So hopefully I can look at transits because they feel relevant. Mercury is going to be, duh, girl. Hey, it's not that difficult. Communication. This is literally communication. When we get triggered into those emotions and when we go into that, it's like it plays on that when we're speaking so much that we're not listening, but it feels like it's in a different way. But it's very much the same. Communication is the one thing that's going to remedy this. And it's almost like it's one of those things that it divides because it's not as big or bad or strong as it may present itself to be. Or it's one of those things that it's like when we're too close to a problem that we don't see the solution, but when you go to an outside perspective, it's easier. It's easier to get the bigger picture when you're not this close in front of it, when you're not like 2 feet away from it. You know what I mean? But it's interesting that um it was like this, right? It was like this. Like we could see the wings of the angel. And sometimes when cards are like this, it means that they're talking to each other. Like they're facing each other. Instead of both facing away or instead of both facing front. So The lovers are the angel, and oh, it's more than just an angel, I guess. Oh, girl, no, no, and it would be the Diablo tarot. It would be the Diablo tarot. Um, I'm gonna hold these two cards up, and I'm gonna let you. If there's anything deeper here to you, I'm gonna let it come forward. Okay, and then there were, where did I put them? Oh, here they are. There are three face down cards, and they are the Hierophant upright, the Nine of Wands in reverse, and the King of Wands upright. Hierophant upright, Nine of Wands in reverse, King of Wands upright. Um, mm, there are ties in between this Hierophant and the Devil, and I don't like it. Somebody's the bad guy. Duh. And it's the person that you think is the good guy. You know, when you're watching a movie, or you know how it appears to be like a trope in movies that like the guy is the bad guy, or it's the people in positions of power that are the bad guy. It's people in positions of power that are like behind the thing that's whatever or whatever, right? It's like the corruption goes all the way up, or all the way down. Gosh, I say that because there is a pentagram on this devil card. Oh, I didn't pull it yet. There's a pentagram on this devil card, and there's a pentagram on the um, pendant of the Hierophant's necklace. See, there's a Hierophant's necklace. Let's see if I can't get it. I might like need a little. I might need to turn the light up or something. Oh, see it? There you go. And then there's, it's like it's the same. And it's the Diablo tarot. So, you know, you're not surprised in Diablo when the Hierophant is possessed by a demon, or when the Hierophant is the one sacrificing people to demons or whatever. Um, and then the Demon Hunter. This is the Demon Hunter in the game. He's in reverse. Oh, where are we going with this? I am going to take a loose interpretation of this as it's better to trust a direct connection. It's better to trust as direct of a connection as you can get with the divine rather than other people, even if they mean well, or even if, you know, whatever. Because I remember the hermit talking to the lovers, and the only thing on the lovers that really showed itself from behind the hermit was the wings of the angel. Sure. Oh no, the hermit's in reverse. It's like the angel, whatever is happening, the hermit is sitting in on this conversation. So whatever is going on over here, the hermit is being made aware of it. Um, Now, again, if we pare this down, or if we don't go the super cynical or whatever route, it can be like things in our life that we're like dedicated to, or things that have become like our routine, or things that have become so routine that they're the norm, and things that have become so routine that we treat them as these things that are immutable, but they're not. But when, like, and the longer we've had that routine, the more comfort or predictability or knowability exists in it, to the point where we do drop our guards with that Nine of Wands in reverse. But more so, it's like we get used to it or we get accustomed to it. And then I don't know if it's like we one day we realize or something happens that helps us to realize that we've become comfortable with something that we shouldn't be. And that we shouldn't be is very individual. It's very much so like this is who I am. This is one aspect of who I am as a person, or this is something that I stand for. Like I never should have become as comfortable as I am with whatever because that's not me. But it's like again, it's through repetition, it's through patterns, it's through habit that was formed that we become like desensitized to it or we fall into it. We grow a comfortability with it. And when we have that comfortability, it makes it easier to continue to do whatever. So now, can I find the card? Now, will you present yourself to me? Present thyself, card. Please, 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 I beg you. It was really one card that went this way. And wherever it fell, I was like, oh, I know exactly where that card is. Because it just slid out the back. I feel like I'm overlooking it. Like I feel like I see it and I don't even realize I see it. I guess this side I'm returning playing no games. But communication is key. And maybe it's one of those things. I know for me, I can sometimes I say I hear stupid a lot better than like I don't I can hear when something is like sounds a little off or wrong. So like if I vocalize a thought or if I'm talking about something and then I hear myself say it, then I'm like, "Oh." It's one of those like, "Oh, that sounded a lot different in my head" types of things. And maybe that's another part of this. Maybe there's like some kind of isolation or separation that's been intentionally put in place or bred or whatever, so that again, multiple people don't, or so that it doesn't get caught, you know? Kind of like, oh, I thought somebody else was going to say something, or oh, I thought like that's just how things were done here because no one else said anything. Again, it's like there's something that it's a lot easier for it to survive or it thrives in isolation. I don't want to say it's Bane. No. Um its Bane is ignorance. That's not how that word has been coming up a lot today. It's not a word that's particularly uncommon. Or it's not a word that's particularly rare. But I've heard the word ignorant like oh, I don't want to like sound ignorant and like that's ignorant like maybe three or four times today. And again, like it's not super uncommon, but it's not a word that I hear all the time either. They say ignorance is bliss, but it's bliss for who? Or for whom? For whom is ignorance bliss? For who finds bliss in ignorance? I don't know. I now have two cards. One of the cards has rejoined the floor. Let's see who it is. If the devil fell out, I wouldn't be too upset. Simultaneously, if the Hierophant fell out, I wouldn't be too upset because that Hierophant had some very devilish ties. It's almost like how, like, let's say that there's somebody who runs like a halfway house or they run like a rehab clinic or a rehab thing, right? But they directly contribute to like whatever people get rehab from problem. Like they're the ones putting the things. It's like the dentist that sells candy and milkshakes, like the opposite of Willy Wonka. You know what I mean? Type of energy. What do they call it? Is it kickbacks? Yeah. Hey Janelle, how you doing? It's kind of like kickbacks. You know, we're getting up close and personal. The Empress? Oh, girl, I did not see you. Girl, where you come from? Where did she come from? She can't be the card that fell off over here. One of the cards that I just put back, as I was putting it into the deck, it fell right back out. And I look down and I see her. It's interesting that the Empress is upright because that Emperor was in reverse, with the King of Cups in reverse, with the Eight of Cups in reverse. This is very like, maybe it's just like it's time for us to face something that we may be averse to. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of aversion and there's a lot of isolation, but it's like the remedy is communication. And the remedy, the other one was to like to not walk away or run away, but to actually look at it and face it and to be open. There may be ways that maybe we'll be called out. Um, it is kind of a harsh with the Hierophant upright and that devil upright and the ties between the Hierophant and the devil energies. It's like if some betrayal or whatever comes up, I wouldn't be surprised. But it's not a blame game. It's not to find who's at fault necessarily, but it's like if we put our trust and faith in something or someone else, it's not that we can't be upset with them if they don't do the right thing or what we would do. Because it's like, well, we're the ones who did that in the first place. But at the same time, again, it's not about blame or anything. It's just like, well, right? I don't know, bro. I wasn't expecting this today. I don't know why I expected fun from the Diablo Tarot. I don't know why I expected to be like, oh, I'm gonna get on, like I'm gonna go live and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be amazing. Girl, I'm losing it. I must be dreaming. I must be dreaming. Singy is going around. I have a Singy the Pisces that I work with. He's also Singy. So, and my mom is a Singy Pisces. See, my brother isn't a Singy Pisces, not so much. He might be. Actually, he might be. I mean, Saturn is, maybe it's because Saturn is retrograding Pisces. Maybe there's a collective sigh of relief. And the song just bursts forward. But yeah, my coworker is a very singy Pisces. And because he's a singy Pisces at work. I try to be a singy Pisces behind closed doors. I try not to be a singy Pisces out in public. But he's bringing out my singy Pisces. And I'm like, no, this is not acceptable. But also, the name of the game right now, apparently, is to be you and all of you everywhere. Or to not intentionally hide you. Okay. Gosh. I'm going to go diving. Actually, I'm going to cut this for a second. I'm going to go looking for these cards. I'm going into the underworld to try to find what I had lost. Wish me luck. Call me Orpheus, but I won't lose Thisbe because I'll have faith. And it wasn't Thisbe. Thisbe was for Pyramus. It was Orpheus, and I always forget her name. I can never remember both of their names. If I remember Orpheus, I forget the other one. If I remember the other one, I forget Orpheus. And it's not Sisyphus. Sisyphus is the one that had to push the boulder up the hill for his punishment. And every time he would get so far, the boulder would run back down. And it's not Tantalus, the one who is desperately thirsty, standing in a pool of water, but every time he bends down to drink it, the water flees from him. Here you are. No, you tricked me last time. It's not you. Important safety information, see reverse side. So the safety information is what um the safety information is what kept calling me as a card, but it isn't a card. But I guess in this case, it might as well be. So we have important safety information, but instead of it being on the side of important safety information, because there's one side that says important safety information, see reverse side. It was just the side with the instructions. So sometimes I don't know if it's like when our intuition tells us something and we don't really get it, or a message that doesn't feel complete until something happens. And then with the context of that happening after the event takes place, we're like, oh, that's what that was. It was a warning, or it was for this, or you know what I mean? It was foretelling something. And now that that thing has occurred, I know what it was. But it's also one of those, like, if someone's like, I have something super important to tell you, and I only have a short amount of time, and you're like, then why are you wasting time? Why didn't you just tell me? But sometimes without that, like, precursor or without that introduction, we don't really know what or why it's for. You know what I mean? Girl, you really just gonna up and disappear like that, huh? You really just gonna. I had to pick the card up. Maybe I picked it up with the others and I didn't notice it. Because I am not finding it. Oh, but I did not find it. I'm assuming that I picked it up. Whew, goodness. Okay. Maybe all of that happened just to get me to actually read that important safety information card. So, anyway. Whew. I went into the underworld and I emerged with nothing. I emerged with nothing but important safety information. See, because I was looking at it and I was like, what is this? And then it was like important safety information. See what we're saying. Oh, I've been hydrating. I filled up my water before. So I'm plenty hydrated. And I went to Starbucks. I'm on that new strawberry acai lemonade refresher. See, I don't even know how many cards are supposed to be in this deck, though. I think it's a standard 78. All right, fine. I'll do it. I'll do it. Maybe this is one of those, like, maybe this is also a part of the energy. Because that's a very sure way to make sure I have all the cards and to not waste energy to continue looking. But I think I'm saving energy or time by just not doing it. But one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 70. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 77 out of 78 cards. I also didn't want to know that it was actually missing. I wanted to give myself the benefit of the doubt. I wanted to both save time and give myself the benefit of the doubt. But hey, at least now if I know what's missing, maybe it's one of those, like, it's still like important, pertinent information to have. It still matters. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's like when there's something that we know is one way, but we don't want to believe it, or we're not yet ready to accept it. So we give ourselves plausible deniability and we give ourselves room to doubt, even though we know what the answer is. This is a many layered beast. It's a magic trick. Maybe in my pocket, I have a receipt. I have two receipts in my pocket. And these are the two receipts for my discounted furniture. I was able to furnish my place with these two receipts, and it it saved costs. Well, not saved costs. It's like a voucher, right? So that plays into the whole, like, I'm making less money than I was making before, and I'm deciding now when I'm making less to move out and to get rent and all of these other bills. Um, and one of those, like, um, it was just one of those ways that things could work out sort of differently or better. One of those was I was resistant to. Because my mom was like, "Oh, you could go here," and I was like, "I don't want to go there." I didn't even know they sold furniture. That's a furniture store, and she was like, "Yeah." And then I was talking to the Singy Pisces. I was talking to the Singy Pisces at work today, and he was like, "No." I was talking to my journey buddy when she came over, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I've gotten furniture from there." I was like, "Really?" Because my mom said it was a furniture place, but I was like, and she's like, "Yeah." Talked to another guy, to the Singy Pisces. He was like, "What?" Um, so one of those I was resistant to. And when I went, they brought back the friends and family sale for the first time since, like, COVID, where everything in the store was 20% off. And then I got an additional 15% by signing up for the rewards program. So that was amazing. That was one of those receipts. And the other receipt was, again, it was a package deal on a set of furniture. And then I bundled it with a mattress to get it even cheaper, or to get both discounted. And they are running packages really for the first time since COVID because now they have the inventory for it, or they're able to get the inventory to start doing package deals. And that one is a connection that I made through a friend that I met through living life and engaging more authentically and forming connections with others. There was like a friend of a friend discount at one place and a friends and family discount at the other place. Um, hey, that is one of those. It's what we do for each other. It's how we show one another, and it's one of those things that we don't know if we don't reach out to connect. If we don't see it from a different perspective or from another side, or if we're already so convinced of one thing because of all that we know, that we don't even allow for anything else to come in and kind of sort of be. And again, the only card that I left on here is the Empress that came out. I put all the other cards back together in the deck and I set it aside and I counted her last. Because there's something about her energy rather than that Emperor in reverse and the King of Cups in reverse. But she doesn't feel passive. Thank you. Yeah, that apparently that short circulated and I was like, I don't know why it's doing the numbers that it's doing. I mean, I'm not gonna complain. I mean, I watched it probably like 100 times myself. The part where she's like, "Hi," at the end. I love that's my favorite part. And honestly, like I had no clue that I would see her last weekend. She was just like, "Oh, I'm going to a bachelorette party an hour away." Well, she was like, "I'm going to a bachelorette party," and she told me where it is in the voice note. And maybe that's another thing going back to that, like just getting right to the point when something is an emergency instead of wasting time. She was like, "I'm going to a bachelorette party in this place." And I was like, that place is an hour away. If she was just like, "Oh, I'm going to a bachelorette party this weekend and blah, 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 blah," I probably would have just been like, "Oh, like, have a good time. Like, I can't wait to chat about it when it's over. I hope you have an amazing time, blah, 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 whatever." But it's because she told me where she was going that I was able to make that connection because she didn't know that she was as close to me as she was. And I didn't know that she was going to where she was going. But in that exchange of information, the pieces came together. And that magical synchronistic timing of, oh my gosh, I literally just moved this stuff in yesterday. Hi, thank you for being my first. She was my first visitor. And again, I haven't seen her since 2019. I haven't seen her in 4 years, so it's kind of wild that that happened on that exact weekend that I moved into. It was gorgeous. It was beautiful. She couldn't stay that long, which is, it's. I got to see her for like as long as I got to see her, which was amazing. So I'm not gonna complain. But yeah, I didn't get to go live with her. But I was like, I need to record this moment just so I can watch it back and be like, but also I was like, I told her, I was like, I'm always talking about my journey buddy. I wanted them to see who she is. She's amazing. Isn't her energy gorgeous? Anyway, I promise that, I need to let that go. Maybe I don't come across as harsh as I think I do sometimes, or as like cold, not cold, as stern. I think I can be semi deceptively stern sometimes. And I say semi deceptively because I don't have Virgo in my chart, but it's in there somewhere. It's the combination of Capricorn, Midgeon of Virgo that's non existent. Virgo is a presence that doesn't exist on its own in my chart, but through a combination of planets, placements, and real life situations, Virgonian energy manifests from me. And maybe that's also like a part of it. But again, it's like it's this process. Was I thinking about that earlier today? Like there are so many things that are a process of many individual components coming together and working seamlessly and harmoniously that makes it happen. You being an example of that, with all of the different organs that you have in your body and the different types of cells, and like there is hopefully a system of well communicating parts that keep you functioning, at least hopefully fairly regularly or whatever, it's no different. But when that communication breaks down and when that cooperation isn't happening, that's when issues arise. And the situation isn't necessarily always let's scrap it, throw it away, and like, oh my gosh, throw your hands up. It's like, no, girl, like, let's talk about it. Let's come together. Let's work this out. And maybe that's what, again, that Eight of Cups with the Emperor in reverse and the King of Cups in reverse, it felt like it. Hanging around, talking it out, and not trying to be so controlling because when you're speaking, sometimes you're not listening. And it's like it's really listening because sometimes we think we know what someone is asking, we think we know what someone is looking for. We're anticipating whatever, but that may not be the case. Okay, Saturn. I mean, Saturn and Pisces in my life is feeling gorgeous because, anyway. Um, now I feel like I gotta find that card. If I have done this energy justice, I didn't even get to do what I wanted to do, which was I'm gonna pull a card for Saturn direct in Pisces, and I'm gonna pull a card for the first thing that Saturn is bringing us as it retrogrades or as it grinds to a halt, and then a card for the overall retrograde in Pisces, and then maybe a card for when it goes back direct. But no, because I'm on this, and it's fine. It's a release of control. Ew. Sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm pretty sure you went over here. Let's fill back here. And I'm also trying to like not knock my camera out. So I'm trying to be semi careful. Actually, wait a minute. Hold on. If I trace the ballistics of that card as it flew out of my hand. Ugh. I'm not gonna find this. It's fine. I'll look for it later. A card could have been missing before I even started this. Scan. Oh, ha 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 ha! That's hilarious. Inside jokes. You know when you and the universe. It's like that's exactly what I was talking about. When something happens, or when you see something, and it holds your attention long enough, or your mind lingers a little longer, or your gaze holds a little tighter, as if it's calling to you or as if it's trying to communicate something to you, but then you go on about your day. And then something happens and you're like, "Oh, I was staring at that desk because my keys were in a drawer and I need my keys." Or, "Oh, like this I saw this and now that this moment is happening, I understand why this previous occurrence grabbed my attention as it did." And then it's like, haha, that's funny. Oh, I get it now. Oh, I get it. I get it. Well, how was I supposed to know until this very moment? That's the point. That's why the title card for me is Live Life and Find Out. Don't try to attach a significance to something where we don't even know what's so significant about it. It hasn't happened yet. That's why you don't know. But it's powerful enough to grab your attention in that moment. I don't know, girl. Where is Saturn and Pisces taking us? Maybe it is bliss. You know what? No. See, I don't want to give up because the Eight of Cups came out in reverse. So I feel like I need to model. what I just read, you know what I mean? But also the Emperor was in reverse. And so, like, if it isn't working, then I shouldn't try to force it to, right? That's why this Empress is upright. The Empress is like you're overcomplicating it. It's not that difficult. It's actually pretty intuitive. Just show up, do the thing, and then boom, it appears like magic. You don't have to orchestrate or manipulate events. I'm going to get this person and that person together at this time. And then this other thing is going to happen. You don't have to stock up the dominoes, stock up. You don't have to stock up on dominoes or stack up the dominoes in order to do whatever. It's way less hoops to jump through. It's a lot less complicated. Sometimes all you got to do is ask, right? Sometimes all you got to do is communicate. And they go, oh my gosh, yeah, here it is. And then with that Nine of Wands in reverse, like, oh, that was so simple. It was so easy. I didn't have to turn it into a whole thing. Yeah, you didn't. Good job for using your communication skills. That's why you have them. We don't know what we don't know. Others don't know what they don't know unless we tell them or unless that communication happens. And then the magic can truly whatever. So, why you don't read reversals? Honestly, it's like sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I feel like a lot of times, just like I feel like without context, it can be like so much of anything. You know what I mean? But also, the same is true for like cards in general. It's context and intuition that helps us find meaning. So, I think I'm actually going to move on from this deck. The Clarity Tarot is right here. I think I'm going to move on to this deck because I wanted to use the Spirit Keepers Tarot Revelations Edition. And maybe this is all background information. This may all be background information for whatever is coming. Just like that devil energy was like the influence in the back, because we don't see the devil necessarily all the time. We see the actions that other people take and we interpret it in a certain type of way, or we hear the things that other people say and we interpret it in a certain type of way. But the face itself, like the traumatic event or the big bad or the thing that influences, doesn't always appear itself. We just see the effects of its influence on people. That is one thing that I hardly ever do. Sometimes I just chalk it up to, oh, that card's gone. I did it for the Lafruma, and then I found out that Gatorung was a card that's missing. Gatorung. Bottom of the deck is the Queen of Swords. No, not Miss whoever with her nipples out. No, I've seen this card before and I never noticed that. You know what? That's interesting. Anyway, Queen of Swords is at the bottom of the deck and the Seven of Wands is under her. It's interesting because the King of Cups was there with the Emperor in reverse, and with the Empress upright is the Queen of Swords anyway. Anyway. No card left in the box. I'll find it later. Especially since I'm moving stuff. I'm going to probably find all kinds of cards in here. Like, oh, I didn't even know that deck was missing a card. But it is always my belief and it is always my philosophy that we see the things that we're meant to see to get where we're going. And if I needed a card to read whatever I'm reading, it'd be in the deck. And there are multiple ways, like energy is energy. If you read or if you watch readers, sometimes you'll hear them say like, this isn't a typical meaning for this card, but this is the energy that I'm feeling. It gets communicated. We may use different languages, we may use different words, we may go about it in a different way. But when there's it's like when intention aligns with action, there's a resonance. When intention aligns with word and action, or word and deed, there's a resonance that's a lot harder to misinterpret. sometimes we'll say one thing, but we actually mean another. And we'll do something. And so it's like vague and it's easy to misconstrue. Or sometimes we'll be like, oh, I'll say this because then they'll think that, even if that's not what we actually intend. And then, but when all those align, it's easier for barriers and boundaries to be broken and for things to carry across relatively clear. I guess it's also interesting that every card I just read fell on the floor. Um, but anyway, I'm going to reach into this drawer and I'm going to pull this very deck. I almost took the Revelations edition to the new apartment too, but I just took the Vitruvian SKT. It felt right. I wanted I don't know. The SKT is like, it's that deck for me. Benabel Wynn for me, she is that person. She just, I don't know. I have a lot of appreciation for her and for her studiousness and for her so much. Anyway, so are we doing the 2-3? Ooh, I've never done a 2-3-1 before. I'm doing a 2-3-1. So I don't know if it'll be 2 cards read as 2 cards, if it'll be 2 or 3 cards read as 2 or 3 cards. But we're going to get 2 for Saturn direct in Pisces, 3 for the first thing is bringing us at retrogrades, and then 1 for the retrograde energy at 1 hour and 11 minutes and 26 seconds in. Might as well timestamp it if I'm going to read it, right? So we'll say in the underworld of 0000, because it's Diablo on the floor. I'll just say Diablo on the floor because that's a lot less whatever. Diablo under the table because that's more whatever. It's less whatever from that, but it's more whatever from the other thing. And then it was 111, so I'm going to say 112.50 because that's probably what time it'll be now. We get into the SKT 3. Oh, all right. Timestamp is in description box. Let's see. Oh, it's 11-222. It was just 11222 on the clock. I'm gonna take this as an opportunity to lubricate my throat because it's getting dry. How's everyone doing today? All right, let's go. So we'll do a 3, 2, 1. Numbers 3. It was 2, 3, 1, but that's fine. 2. And then 1. The Herald of the Flame. Awaken the Brilliance. That card, it was part of the 3 cards. It was the Herald of the Flame, the Shining Flame, and somebody else. It was in this deck too. In this deck, it was the Page of Wands, the Knight of Wands, and then something. I think it was in Pisces season. I feel like it was something to do with Pisces. It might have been Sun moving into Aries. Could have been. I think it was something that it might have been Saturn transiting into Pisces because that happened earlier this year. It might be Saturn in Pisces. This card came out. So Saturn being direct in Pisces and seeing this card again, that'd be pretty wild. The Herald of the Flame comes with the message. Go to the Diablo Tarot to see what that message is. Even though I put this deck away, it's fine. What was the Herald? Because that's when the Lion sort of had come up and out. Which was about As we're doing one thing, it's like we're aligning to something much greater, and we may not necessarily know it at the time. It's the chariot. The chariot was in reverse, right? It was the Ace of Swords in reverse, the chariot in reverse, and some other card. It just came out. There's an energy here. Good night, Eve. I need to go to bed as well. Enjoy your evening. I bet you've never heard that one before because I'm so creative and original. There's this energy here. This is like the divine letting you know, like you're good, you're solid, you've learned whatever you needed to learn, you've seen whatever you've needed to see, you have all of the tools at your disposal to make progress and to make headway, even if you don't have a tailwind, or even if like it feels like or it seems like something energies are opposing you. It's like this is your go ahead to keep moving forward. I don't know if like you've gotten clearance from like you've been cleared by Saturn. I don't know if that is necessarily going to make its retrograde easier. I would have not necessarily felt difficulty in a call it crazy or call it wild. I wouldn't have necessarily expected to see any difficulty in this transit of Saturn retrograde through Pisces. But she's saying keep moving forward. You've gotten clearance from Saturn. So I guess in that it's like know that you have clearance from Saturn so that if someone's like, hey, you can't go in there, you don't just go, okay, and then you go stand in line with everybody else. And it's like, no, that's why you're being told you have clearance, like show your badge. Or it's not like you don't have to pull rank or pull whatever on somebody. Just let them know, like, oh, I'm on the list. And then they check the list and like, oh yeah, you're right. Like you're right here. Oh my gosh. Sorry, it's a little crazy. And you're like, oh, it's no problem. Or you could be like, oh, don't you know who I am? Blah 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 blah. And the person's like, yeah, but you're still not on the list. So if you want to get in, you're gonna have to wait. If you don't, you can huff and puff and walk your tail home because you're not getting in here. Anyway, um, it's an energy that's like it's not a respecter of persons, it's a respecter of like perseverance or whatever. It's not like a title thing, it's like a what have you done type of thing. And I don't know, honestly, it could just be the way that you carry yourself through situations. Maybe you'll just like carry yourself through it, and that's this pass that you get. So it's not necessarily that it'll be easier because I don't know if it will be, or if you'll just be able to handle it better than you would have been able to in the past. And so you're going to get something out of it that you wouldn't have necessarily gotten before. I don't know. So, two cards for Saturn and Pisces. The first card, guess what the first card for Saturn and Pisces is? I'll give you 2 seconds. Pause it if you're watching this and you want more time. It's the Empress. Oh my gosh. Imagine that. Imagine it being the Empress. She is Gloria Mundi, Orania's Gate. This is such a I don't know why I wanted to say weird cosmic tie-dye. I don't know why that phrase like cosmic tie-dye popped into my mind. Um, this is such an interesting energy. It feels like there's a curtain being parted, almost like it's a high priestess type energy. Like the curtain is being peeled back, and then you see all the waterfall and stuff. It's like it's this abundance up front because you see like the corn and stuff, right? The wheat, because you see the wheat, like it's this abundance upright, but then the curtain, the veil lifts our parts to reveal so much more. Like this energy is about more than just abundance. It's more than just the Empress at face value. The second card is the Vagabond for Saturn and Pisces. These are two completely different experiences. It's like one experiences extreme abundance while the other one experiences extreme lack. And that's not because there's a polarity that must be maintained in the world. So if you have an extreme, if you go through a period of extreme abundance, or if one person is experiencing extreme abundance, then another one is going to experience extreme lack to balance out the scale to zero or whatever. It's like it's not that deep, it's not that complicated. Um, well, it's not that complicated, it's not that deep, but there are other complexities at hand. Saturn retrograde, the first thing that Saturn retrograde Pisces is bringing us, the first card is the Shining Quarry, Knight of Pentacles. So if you are, I guess, if you find yourself to see more or to be more of in an energy of like the Five of Pentacles, which is like not enough, feeling like you're on the outside, maybe feeling like everyone else is like blessed or everything else is moving in everyone else's life. Kind of sort of when you start playing the comparison game. It's almost one of those like if you hear somebody talk, especially someone who like experienced a relative who's experienced like a difference in like socio-economical, not socio-political, and like socio-economical status, and like they accumulate some amount of money, and they may be like, well, growing up we didn't even know we were poor because everybody was poor. We didn't know that we were lacking anything because nobody around us had it. And now that other things have happened, like now that I'm in a different world, there are people who like this has been their whole life where they don't know what it's like to go without a meal or to worry about whether or not you'll have lights and water and electricity and these other things because like that was never something that they had to worry about. But with the Shining Quarry here, it's like it's a definite promise that things are going to change, that something is going to happen, but because it's the Knight of Pentacles energy, it may not be as quick as we want it to be. But there is a certain meticulousness, there is a certain attention to detail that the first thing that Saturn and Pisces retrograding is bringing, which for Piscean energy is actually kind of gorgeous. It's gorgeous to assist Pisces. It might be frustrating if one is in that energy of Pisces, depending on how you view it or feel about it, honestly. The second thing, the second first thing, Saturn retrograding in Pisces, it's the Ebony Shield. This is all Pentacles, by the way. And the Empress and her abundance, Venus, which rules Taurus. It's kind of an earthy energy. I mean, the Empress is the queen of all queens of all elements. She holds a presence in each, not just Earth, but the wheat is here. It's fine. Five of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles. Now we have the Queen of Pentacles, which is the sanctum of treasures. The Ebony Shield guards the sanctum of treasures. Didn't you say treasure earlier, Holly? Or no, something about he's on a treasure hunt. Yeah, you did for that missing card. The Ebony Shield is not a queen that we saw yesterday. It was the Queen of Swords, the Golden Shield, and the Queen of Cups, the Ivory Shield. And we just saw the Queen of Swords with the Empress. Queen of Swords was at the bottom of the deck with the Empress still on the table. Now the Empress is here with the Queen of Pentacles. Swords and Pentacles energy came out. I believe it came out yesterday because I remember mentioning it. And it came out recently, probably the video before that, because I remember saying air and earth are the thinking, reasoning, logical, analyzing, more pragmatic. Water and fire are the more emotionally or passion, sort of like led and driven. And again, it's really gorgeous in a way that Saturn retrograding Pisces is bringing so much earth to Pisces. It's like it's grounding it or it's providing the ground for it to happen. So the third thing is the Shining Gale, the Knight of Swords. This is interesting. I'm looking at the top of the deck. They're face down, by the way. Almost like I was going to look at the bottom of the deck. It's interesting. Gale is very quickly, very assuredly going towards this sanctum of the treasures. And the shining quarry is very hesitantly, this is how it came out. It's very hesitantly approaching. The horse is almost like, are you sure? Are you sure like we want to go to the sanctum of treasure and not the Isle of Misery? Like, because see how it's like it's positioned, it's postured to move in that direction, but it's looking back. Whereas on the other side, that is very much so not happening. So I don't know if this is one of those like our words in our mind says one thing, but our actions don't match. Or if the action is about to catch up to the word. We can speak and say and do and manifest a lot, but with that Knight of Pentacles, like, where are we actually investing time, energy, and effort? Rather than just like, oh, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. You know what I mean? So these are the first things that Saturn and Pisces. It's almost like the first thing that Saturn and Pisces is going to reveal. It's almost like it's revealing that something is possible, but it's asking if we want to invest the time, energy, effort to do the work to get it. It's like if there's something that you've been really wanting for a long time that you haven't been able to find. And then someone's like, oh, I have that thing. And you're like, really? Oh my gosh, how much is it? And they're like, $1 million. And you're like, $1 million, that's a lot. And they're like, well, how bad do you want it? See, but then in my mind, the way it's playing out, it's like someone asks for an astronomical price for something. And you're like, I don't even have that. And they're like, it's okay. You don't have it right now, but you will someday. And we can do like a payment plan. It is that because of the Knight of Pentacles. It's that payment plan energy. But maybe it's more so like leasing. Well, I don't know how payment plans work. Yeah, because you get it, but you got to make those payments, or it's like you get it and then later it'll collect on it. Which is interesting because it almost sounds a little devil energy, almost, especially in the right or wrong context. Or, oh, yeah, I'll give this to you now, but in 5, 7 years, I'll come back and collect, type of energy. But it's not that. It's an investment in you. It's like when someone treats you with something. And so they don't necessarily ask for anything of value in return. They just ask that you treat the thing with care. It's like just do your best to take care of it. That's all you got to do. Just don't like waste it. Don't go out and just like abandon it, or don't go out and just like forget about it and let it rust and do all this other kind of stuff. And it's fine. It's yours. You can keep it. It was for you anyway. I do want to pull a card crossing these three, and then I'll pull one that is actual Pisces. So crossing all three of these is the Eight of Cups, Saturn and Pisces, the defector. Maybe that's why the Eight of Cups came out. Saturn and Pisces. Now we see it upright. It was in reverse. Maybe that Eight of Cups on the side is that question. Do you stay or do you go? Do you want it enough to do the payment plan? Do you want it enough to take care of it? Or nah. Hmm. Saturn and Pisces is no, the demon. The devil card came out. I guess this isn't too bad because it's Capricorn. And because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn and we're talking about Saturn. But it's not world card energy Saturn, where it's just Saturn. And it's not the star card energy, where it's Aquarius, which is ruled by Saturn. Even though, I feel like a lot of times we forget that Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius. The way you hear people, anyway, it's fine. The Devil and the Ace of Cups came out. So the Holy Grail, the Ace of Chalices, is this raw spot in the Devil's armor. It's like all red and fleshy looking. This is so I'm looking at this Awaken the Brilliance of the Herald of the Flame that came out with the Chariot, which was upfront that like whatever is coming, you can do it. You can handle it, you can fix it, you can get through this. And I'm looking at the ebony shield which guards the sanctum of treasures. And I'm looking at one energy that is quickly approaching in the air and another that is slowly approaching in the earth, slowly and hesitantly. Now, the chariot is about bringing two forces together on the same page. What's interesting is, I guess, that they're both headed in the same direction already. So the challenge isn't to get two different energies on board or to get people on board with something. The challenge is in creating a pace, because the Knight of Pentacles moves too slow for the Knight of um, Swords, to the point where it may drive the Knight of Swords to frustration and anger. And the Knight of Swords moves too quickly for the Knight of Pentacles, to the point where it may generate additional anxiety or confusion or worry, or it may cause that Knight of Pentacles to go into an overanalyzing analysis paralysis, spin out everything that could go wrong. So again, two energies that are heading in the same direction but at completely different paces. This and the Eight of Cups, it's very much a like neither is wrong type of energy. Excuse me. I was gonna say something else. Um, the Eight of Cups with that Knight of Swords and that Knight of Pentacles. Like neither is wrong. Both approaches are correct in balance. Oh, because there's something about the cup that gives Damon power in this. Again, it's just like I feel like I get it and then it slips because I'm like I'm about to end this live because I'm really tired now. I'm exhausted. Um, it's this like it's an energy that makes you jump through hoops or it creates these obstacles that don't even need to be there, that don't even really exist. It's like something is already yours. It's like you show up and you're like, "Oh, I filled out the paperwork, I paid the fee, I did this, I did that." And then the person's like, "What are you talking about? There's no fee. All you do is like you come up and you say you want something and then it's yours." It's that energy of like whenever we desperately want something, whenever we desperately want change or whenever we desperately want something to work out, we set our intuition, our discernment, and our good common sense to the side because we really want something to be it, even if we know it isn't. We want it to be. And because we want it to be so badly, there are things that we ignore and all kinds of stuff. We end up compromising in ways that if we weren't in that desperation, we wouldn't. So it's like just be mindful of that, I guess. Is there anything else? No. I think that's it. That's enough. So Saturn in Pisces, it's reading like either a time of great abundance and joy or I don't want to say a time of destitute. But again, we have the Empress on one side and the Vagabond Five of Pentacles on the other side, which is kind of polarized. We can honestly be both, though. We can experience success in one area of our lives, but not in others, or there may be one or two particular areas in our life that seems like they never get any growth, and so we grow to feel some type of way, or we grow to expect things to not work out, and then it's like they don't, and it's like, oh, surprise, like nothing's working because we don't allow it to. Um, but yeah, there's the one which is the Empress, and there's the other which one is the Five of Pentacles. Now, the first thing that Saturn retrograde is bring it feels like it's bringing us an answer, it's bringing us a solution, but it's not a quick fix, and it's not necessarily gonna appear to be easy. So it's gonna be a question of like, well, how bad do you want it? Now, when we're presented with that, the Eight of Cups is here. Do we stay or do we go? And then the energy of Saturn and Pisces, retrograding in Pisces as a whole, is the devil. Almost it is temptation. If you know Bible biblically, it's almost like Job, the story of Job, where he lost a lot. He lost everything except for his faith in God. And his faith in God saw him gain everything back and more with interest. The devil lost that one. The chariot is right here that came out with the herald of the flame. And it's like, you're good. You got to pass from Saturn. But again, it doesn't necessarily, it could be. It doesn't necessarily feel like you don't experience any challenge at all. So you're good to go. It's like you've healed and integrated and changed and grown and evolved or whatever enough to make it through whatever you're going to experience from now until like November and to come out better on the other side. And it's because of work that you've done. So maybe you see yourself as enough, you see yourself as worthy enough of whatever investment Saturn is going to be asking you to make. Cool. So I'm going to put these away. I am going to get a final card. Even though I'm like, dang tired now. Excuse me. Oh, I need to not go to bed at like 11 tonight. And be like, oh, well, if I go to bed at 11, I can get 7 hours of sleep if I wake up at 6. Sometimes too much sleep can be a not that great thing. The bottom of the deck is the tower. This tower holds the axe of Shiva and the trident. The axe of Shiva only cuts away at corruption. So it's almost a reassurance of if anything fails or falls, know that it's meant to. But it could also be things that are highlighted or something like that. You know what I mean? So it isn't, it's just to say that, like, if you're having difficulty in one specific area of your life, it may not necessarily be like for you to quit your job or for you to do this or do that or walk away. It may be for you to become resourceful or to speak up or to do whatever. The solution may not be walk away, run away, quit, give up, and hide. That's why you use your intuition and your discernment. All right, SKT3. Last card, please. Four of Wands. The Demiurge. The Demiurge is interesting. I don't know anything about a lot of stuff, but when I looked it up and as I've kind of sort of heard about it, it's like one who can, hilarious. One who can influence the reality. And it's one of those things that I've seen in a context of like bad, but it's one of those things that like everybody wants to be. Or it's a position that everyone wants to be in. It's like, oh, it's not right when you do it, and it's not right when they do it, and it's not right if it's anybody but you. But it becomes one of those like it's not necessarily that the thing itself is whatever. It's how it's used. Anything and everything is a tool. Not every well, there are a lot of things that are tools. There are some tools that are used to we don't have to get into the weeds of it. It's a tool, it's how it's used. And so it can be easier, not easier. Yeah, I guess it can be easier to view the tool as, hey, Steph, it was honestly it was like packed enough up front, but then very slow. But ultimately, it was a good day. It was a good day. Getting more and more and more responsibilities to the point where, I'm going to be the baby birdie that flies. So even if I'm asked to fly tomorrow. But also I'm not doing it alone, which is actually kind of nice. So, excuse me. How are you, Steph? I don't even remember what I was just talking about. It only removes. I honestly don't remember. I'm so tired now. The Tower is the card that fell out. By the way, if you're curious, the card at the bottom of the deck is the Seeker, which is it's interesting that these two cards come out together, the Seeker and the Tower, because now this is an energy of like, well, isn't this what you asked for? Did you not wish, and I quote, to be freed of the situation? Well, you got fired, so now you don't have to worry about your boss. Almost like a genie. Be careful what you wish for. But it's more so, I feel like it's more so interpreted that way because in the moment we focus more on what we've lost rather than what we have to gain. Um Under the Seeker is New World Order, and under New World Order is the Force. So this is the world and strength. Saturn and Leo. Saturn and Pisces in conjuncts Leo. So Saturn is going to be in conjuncting Venus and Mars. But Saturn in conjuncting Venus and Mars actually feels like a good energy. It's an energy of like, because it's like if Venus and Mars are whatever and they get into an argument, and then Saturn is like facilitating, or Saturn is creating the space for them to meet, but it is not dictating how that goes. Right? So it's like you're going to sit here and you're going to sit there and you two are going to hash this out. Maybe you sit for 10 minutes in silence and nothing changes, and then you go about your day, and they go about their day, and then you end up in the exact same position. Maybe you sit there and then you work things out in that 10 minutes, and it's gorgeous. I feel like it feels like looking towards Saturn, looking towards a facilitator to like bring about the outcome that we want. It's like if somebody they step on your foot or whatever, and like you get sat down, and you expect it for Saturn to be like, okay, apologize to them. And so you look at Saturn like, well, aren't you going to tell them to apologize to me? Isn't that why you sat us down? And Saturn's like, no, girl, I'm not here to do anything. I'm just here to make sure that you two have the opportunity to sit down together. What you do in this time is up to you. You can do nothing and then leave. You don't even have to wait the full 10 minutes. You can get up and go, now, I'm not going to do anything. You're not going to be in any more trouble, because at the end of the day, it's a you and you thing. Which was that like feeling of what it was, that feeling of the Knight of Pentacles, about whether or not we invest in ourselves really, because that is an act of self-love. But it's interesting that it's because I mentioned Capricorn. I was like, Saturn is coming out as Capricorn rather than Saturn coming out as Aquarius, or Saturn coming out as Saturn. Well, here is Saturn as Saturn. Excuse me, with New World Order and with this Force card, which is Leo. It's interesting because the Seeker, New World Order, and the Force, again, maybe this is that energy of like looking towards the divine to come in and force something to happen. And then being like, well, is that not why you led me to this situation? Is that not why my intuition, discernment, whatever got me here? Was it not because you're going to force something to happen for me? And it's like, no, we just give you the opportunity. What you do with that opportunity is up to you. Either you take it or you don't. Either you accept it or you don't. Either you take a step back, you take a step forward, you take a step to the side, you take a step diagonally, you stand still, you jump in place, you do whatever. But whatever you do, it's up to you. It's your choice. It's your decision. I was just told to get you here. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. There's the water. What are you going to do? You're thirsty. And then there's the Tower. Again, the Tower in this deck in particular, it holds an energy where it only destroys that which is not pure, or it only destroys that which is in need of a purification. It's the best kind of medicine. There are a lot of medicines that will attack the body just as well as it will try to heal it or rid it of a foreign sort of presence. Right? Oh, that's it. I'm not going to get a final card from this deck again. I'm honestly not even going to look again. I mean, maybe I'll glance on the floor to see if I see it, but I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to struggle. That card just smooth as silk slid out the back, and it was so smooth I thought I'd be able to quickly and immediately find it, but I guess not. Haha, joke's on me. Well, actually, I was going to say, well, actually, the joke's on you because you're the one that's not going to see it. The joke is on all of us. The joke is there is no joke. That was no punchline. That was just the truth. So I'm going to give it one more glance over. Do you want to reveal yourself now? Who are you? Where were you? What did you do? Where did you go? Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. I'm so tired. I am exhausted. Whew. I am ready for the sleepy, 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 sleepy. I didn't find the card, but I did find my bell to wish them well. So I'm going to wish you well by ringing this bell. You know what? Sometimes we don't know what's right in front of our face. I said that. I said that earlier, right? It's hard to see the big picture. It's harder to see the big picture when we're like a foot away from whatever it is that we're looking at. Sometimes we don't see what's right in front of our face, but it's like a good thing, but we don't recognize it. Maybe it's like Saturn and Pisces, Saturn retrograde Pisces encouraging you to notice or witness the abundance all around you type of energy. I might actually title it that because I feel like it sounds frilly and nice. And because it also feels true. But anyway, it would be very funny if it is the Tower. I'm like, oh, well, would you imagine that? I feel like I'm not doing a great job at looking, but that's fine. I don't know how many times I gotta say I'm tired, I'm exhausted, but I am. I am more so than ever before. I kind of. Oh, I thought I saw it for a second. I was about to be like, ooh, there it is. Because I went, and it just went, flew. I thought I hit the floor. All right. I'll probably post it in a community post if it pops up. Excuse me. I hope you have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey, and way, you find in a way that is convenient and recognizable and easy. And if you don't, I hope you allow yourself the opportunity to see, witness, experience whatever is for you to see, witness, and experience. And I hope you enough patience and self-love and anything and everything else you would need to it feels like it's recognized as a surefire thing, but it just feels like because of that Knight of Pentacles it's like slow. It's like, yeah, that's a way to get this to happen, but it'll take 20 years. Now I'm not going to say that there is an energy of it happening a lot faster than you may think. Something is catalytic. It's that Saturn energy. It's the facilitator, mediator energy. Because that's what a catalyst does. It gets two things together to make a reaction happen, but it's like it doesn't force the reaction to happen. So maybe it's not, I don't remember all of the different forms of inhibition and stuff like that. But it's almost like, I hope you're not claustrophobic, huh? Because it's almost like instead of, it's like if there are two people. It's like that. I think it's like a post-apocalyptic show. I don't know. I only saw the clips from the episodes on YouTube when I was in my movie recap era. Um, because era is a part of my vocabulary now, and I'm not even watching Drag Race. I just watch the pit stop because it's free on YouTube. um, but it's like if there are only two things in existence. Let's go quantum because that's kind of what it feels like, but not necessarily really. Um, but existence is so vast. So you go, okay, well, now there are two things on planet Earth, but planet Earth is so vast. And you go, okay, well, there's two things that are in the northern hemisphere. You get rid of like half of Earth. Still a lot. Okay, there are two things in North America. Okay, two things in Canada. Okay, two things in Ontario. It's like it's getting, because I feel like with the catalyst, it's so like surefire. It just like it puts things in their position and it makes sure that a meeting happens. But it doesn't do anything more than that. So if you were, it's almost like if you were watching your life from a movie, this Saturn retrograde Pisces may be bringing that moment where, again, it's the bigger picture. When you get that bigger picture, it's like if it's like one of those like don't go in there, or like he's right there, like turn around, you'll see him. Like when you're yelling at the movie because you want the two characters to like get together or whatever, and like both of them think that the other person isn't interested or whatever, but since you're watching the movie, you know that they both are. And so you know when there are those moments of vulnerability that the other person may be hoping the other one sees as a moment of vulnerability so that they don't have to say whatever. Or you see like those missed connections because let's say the character walks off frame, but then immediately the other one comes on frame. That person doesn't know. Like that's that Eight of Pentacles or that Eight of Cups energy. That's that should you stay or should you go. It's like, oh, if they would have waited 2 more seconds, they would have seen it, or this would have happened, or that would have happened. And you're yelling at the screen, or your heart is like, oh no. But this is real life. But sometimes it's to go, sometimes it's not to wait. Use your own intuition discernment. Who? So, oh. Excuse me. I don't know if it's necessarily that type of, but that's what it feels like. It doesn't necessarily feel like it's forcing anything to happen. It's just like we get you on the same planet in the same hemisphere, same continent, same country, same state or province, same city, same block, same coffee restaurant, same table, same order. Oh my gosh, you get that? Oh yeah, I love it. You get that? Yeah. All right, see ya. Bye. It was so cool meeting you. Okay. Nothing happens. 3 months later, though, you're at the place and they're at the place, and you're like, hey, you're the person that gets my order. And you're like, yeah. And wherever you were 3 months ago, you were not ready. You didn't have the space, you didn't have the time. There was this going on, there was that going on. This is the thing that catches your attention. It catches your eye, holds it, and you just like look at it for a little bit. Not necessarily sure why it's holding your interest or your attention as much as it is. You dismiss it, you go about your day. An hour, a second, a minute, 10 minutes, a week, a month goes by. Something happens. You're like, oh, this is it. This was it. This is why that thing held my attention. There was something in me that knew before I knew. I don't know. At this point, I need to go to bed. I've already put the cards away. Why am I still here? All right. Like I said, I hope you all have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. If you're not, I hope you have a much, 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 much better one fairly quickly to soon. But if it takes time, I hope you allow yourself that time. I hope more than anything, that you are utilizing and using and following your intuition and your discernment. There's nothing that you need come into this world with. There's no information that you need privy access to. If you're open and if you listen and if you are aware and if you are present, more often than not, sometimes most powerfully, if you are present and honest with yourself and with others, you'll find everything you need. The universe is good that way. It's fair that way. It's balanced that way. But we have free will. We have choice. We get to say no, thank you. And we get to pretend like we don't see the things that we very much so see. And then we get to live with the consequences because that is the beauty of the love of free choice and free will.